File open. Blue Man Groupie. All right. Now, the one thing that I didn't really take into consideration, but actually could be of some help to me, is the fact that this was taken with a fisheye lens. So there's a severe distortion. But that could work in my favor because it's not perfect, because it is this morphic version of itself. It could work better for me. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do before doing anything is I'm going to make a duplicate of the background. That way, if, God forbid, I screw the pooch on this, I don't have to go hunt for this picture again. It is saved. I have the original, and so on. So I'm going to just turn the background off for now. And I need to start basically by cutting this gentleman out of this photograph. Once I've cut this gentleman out, I will have a much better idea of what I'm going to have to fix and what I'm going to have to do, how I'm going to bring these three together and close this gap. Again, I can't just leave a gap. So, when it comes to selecting the person you want to remove, again, you have some options. You have your lasso tool. You have your polygon lasso tool, your magnetic lasso tool. You have your quick selection tool, your magic wand. And they can all be used in conjunction with one another. What I'm going to do, though, I think is, and this may be more comfortable to you too, is I'm going to use the pen tool. And I am going to trace around him. Now, I won't get a selection immediately. Okay? So, I'm going to zoom in. And just begin like I would in Illustrator. And I'm going to make sure I get his beard, so I'm going to come off into that a little bit. Now, you remember how you change the direction in Illustrator? You would go back and click this. What you have to do in Photoshop is press the Option key and click that to get rid of that lead handle so you can abruptly change direction. Okay. Press the Option Alt key to change the direction. Now, yes, I am going a little bit outside of him, but I think that's going to be okay for now, simply because of this white canopy. We got some hair sprigs here. I'm just going to jump over those hair sprigs a little bit. Option Alt key to change direction. Option Alt key to change direction. Okay, I know I fell silent. Sorry about that. Concentrating. Probably good. And he's got a silly little drumstick. Okay. I'll eat into the blue man a little bit there on that drumstick. Okay. His arm goes back into this background here, getting into that sweatshirt that the blue man's wearing. Okay. Around the knuckles. Now, I don't want to just do a sloppy job of going around him because I don't want to take so much background data that I don't have anything to work with. Like, see this area here? I really want to keep that. I don't want to have to remake that hinge and those screw heads. So I'll have to add to this selection after I finish going around the perimeter here. So as you're zoomed in and tracing around the figure you were hoping to remove, you're going to see things and be like, oh boy, I'm going to have to fix that. I'm going to have to change that. I'm going to have to do something with that. So I'm not trying to eat like a whole chunk of the background. Don't eat more than you necessarily have to. You don't want to be too close, but at the same time, you don't want to lose critical image data that could come in handy to fill these gaps. See, like I got this shoe thing here. That's going to be interesting. I'm going to have to finish a shoe or hide it behind something or something like that. All right, I get down here. Here, back up the leg, around that, around that, up here, wrinkles in the pants. Alright, so I know this is tedious. You ought to be the one doing it. Oh, that's right, you will be soon. So let's see here. Swing around that, Alt Option. Change directions. It's probably too far. Let's try that. There. Okay. The other reason of keeping another version of the background that is untouched is if you think you've got an idea and you've worked on it and things have gone awry, hey, that arm that is unsalvageable, that was too far. That arm that was unsalvageable, you still got it. It's just on the original now. So you can go back and not cut something, but just copy something off the original to get you out of your troubled spot. Oh, yeah, this is the long, tedious part. Once you get a hole made, it's not too bad because then it's all about building and restructuring. Don't need too much of that glove. Don't mind about the black sweatshirt so much. Alright, here we got a big arc. And give him that Popeye forearm. And then up the drumstick. Uh-oh, got a kink there. Crap. Poopy. Hey. One more bunch. There we go. And that's how the history pot works. See, I could go back a couple points. All right, let's try bringing it all the way to the top. Oh yeah, that's much better. Okay. I noticed that the blue man has this port on his outfit. That's going to be interesting. Around that drumstick. Don't mind eating so much of that black simply because that's going to be easy to ricochet and recreate. So up the shirt, over the shoulder. That's too weird, but I'll leave it. Alright, I shouldn't have joined it there. Ha! Let me go back one anchor point. That was too far. There we go. Now we'll go up. Nope, too far. There's a change in direction. There we go. Up the shirt collar and then close it. Now, okay, so I have this path. Let me zoom back out. It's all around him. And before I turn this into a selection, I'm going to go into the gaps between his arms and his torso and draw a couple more paths. I'm going to zoom in, get my pen tool, and again, pen tool, well actually let me not do the pen tool. Let me do a lasso. That way you can see how that works. So I'm going to go around, whoops, Command Z, that's your friend, go around his forearm, up his arm, up into the shadow of the sleeve of the shirt, moving in, and done. Got that selected. A little chunky there, and I'm going to hold the shift key to select this other portion. Let's see, it keeps my other selection hot to trot while I'm working on this one. Up the arm and do. And then I'm going to add a little, I see I cut a little bit too far out on that one. And I cut a little too far in, so now I'm going to switch the option key to deselect. And remember, I'm not on the pen tool right now, I'm on the lasso tool. So I've got these two, and then I've got this path, but you'll notice that the path doesn't have the what they call the marching ants, the marquee dots around it. Well, what I have to do now is go over to the path palette, and it says, oh, there's a work path. And what do I want to do with that work path? Well, I use this little drop-down menu, make selection. No feathering, I want it right where I put it. Okay, whoops, forgot something. Click that, make selection. It asked me a couple questions, and I said, I didn't check it. I said new selection or add to selection, subtract or intersect. Well, I want to add this big long thing to the two little guys I just made. So add to existing selection. Let's see if it poops its pants. I don't know why it'd be pooping its pants. So it absorbed those two holes. So instead of selecting them, I actually did it backwards. My mistake. I want to deselect those and leave them. That's why they disappeared. It added it to the core. So what I'm going to do is hold down the option key with my lasso. My mistake. I apologize. Because see, right now, everything inside this dotted line is selected, including these gaps in his armpits. But I want those to stay there. So I need to say, don't select these two. And how I do that is with the option key pressed and the lasso chosen, I deselect this interior part that I do not want to be deleted. I want to keep that there if I need it. It's got those screws, some lids, some of that aluminum, and I'm going to deselect that stuff, so only he and he alone is the thing I'm wanting to remove. That's better. So you see now, got him selected. I'm going to copy him, edit, copy. I'm going to cut him, edit, cut. Aha. Go back to my layers, edit, paste, in place, which puts him right back there. Now you'll notice when I pasted him, he popped into his own layer. Well, I can just turn that off. When you're done cutting, this is when the realization hits you, oh boy, I've got a lot of stuff to fix. Okay? So this is the first part of that, and this is how you get started. So when I come back for the next video, it'll be how do you process the crime scene? What are the steps now that you must take to make it seem like that person was never in that photograph at all, ever?